Good morning, Eugenetics. Today is July 23 and it's a Wednesday. It's a very gloomy day. Rains and the winds come every now and then. It's a typhoon season. So let us all be careful. And of course, let's all pray for safety. To those who are undergoing some flooding, perhaps we can think about planting trees and cleaning our culverts and not throwing garbage into the streets or canals. So today, eugenetics, our topic is about non-normal experiences. This first story would come from my past when I was a seminarian to make it as a backdrop for all the non-normal or paranormal stories that would happen to me in flying. So, ladies and gentlemen, eugenetics, let us start. The title for our reading number 27 is Non-Normal Experiences. When martial law was declared by Ferdinand Marcos Sr. through Proclamation 1081 in September 23, 1972, I was a second year high school intern at the Seminario Menor de San Carlos in Cebu City. This would be later named, sorry, Pope John the 23rd Minor Seminary in Mabolo, Cebu City. I was then 12 years old. Fearing for the worst, the seminary fathers thought it wise to send us all home to be safe with our families. The whole country was under the cloud of our uncertainty. It was the first time for the country to be declared under martial law. There was a nationwide curfew at 6 p.m. All mass media offices were padlocked. There were patterned brownouts all over the country. Without the radio, the newspapers, television, movies, and the early curfew and the constant brownouts, life for us Filipinos then seemed to stop. Sorry. This was the time when I started to know what is not normal. Not the routinary normal, but the paranormal. My first night after we were sent out of the seminary was spent at my uncle's house in Cebu City. I would go home to Leyte in the next available ship. Since there was brownout all over the country then, all my cousins gathered in the dark in front of the flickering candles. There must have been 8 of us that time, male and female. When the stories ran out and it was almost midnight and we were still unusually wide awake, somebody suggested that we do the Spirit of the Glass. Although I heard stories about it, I did not know what it really was because I haven't tried it. When they said it was just a game and it was for fun, so I joined in. This was to be my first time. When the glass started to move and point at letters to form words, I was dumbfounded. How can it happen? Then I became skeptical. I told all my cousins to remove or take out their fingers from the top of the glass, but the glass kept on moving. Then it would slow down. Before the glass stopped, we were instructed to put back two fingers on the top of the glass and it would go faster. Then it would go faster and faster and gain momentum. Questions, whether written, said verbally, or asking inside your own mind, were answered by the glass through those letters on the chart. Some answers were right, some answers were also wrong. When I asked openly who will be the next queen in the fiesta at our place in Leyte, the spirit of the glass answered, my sister Sol. And later on it happened. It was even the concert. When I asked who will be the next pope, it gave a name of an Italian cardinal, Pericle Felice, a powerful cardinal in the Vatican Curia at the time. It was wrong. Cardinal Albino Luciani came out as Pope John Paul I. Secret crushes were divulged by the spirit of the glass. But I found it so much fun. Although in hindsight the Catholic Church does not approve of it, it was my first peep into the same unknown. We would often wonder, like ghosts or any paranormal events. When I was growing up, I used to dream of flying. I do not see myself. It was all feelings and emotions that I experienced during sleep. I would fly like a bird in my dream. I could feel the emotion of levitation on air and soaring and gliding and speeding off to faraway and high places. To say it was exhilarating was an understatement. Every time I wake up, I would feel so fresh and reinvigorated. And I would wish I would dream the same dream over and over again. And the dream went on again and again until my adult life. Now, it stopped. I would hear stories about sixth sense, a third eye, and astral projection, but I never believed in those. One time, while I was at the San Carlos Seminary College, I was assigned to clean Father Rudy Villanueva's room. I would clean it once a week. Then he left for the United States for a much-needed vacation. His room was full of books. A worm could only wish. It also had a small television and an air conditioning unit. While the priest was out of the country, my cleaning his room would be done as often as possible, as if dusts gather faster when the owner is not around. It was also a place where temptation for comfort and the need to know what's going on around the world was too much to be ignored. So every now and then, I would turn on the air conditioning unit. I would sit comfortably in front of the television and get updated on the movie world. More often, I would just take a nap for 2 hours in the comfort of the cold, clean room as a hiatus from a dormitory ambience we had. Then it happened. I was awakened by someone hitting me hard with a pillow. When I looked around, I saw a big black hairy giant, almost like a shadow, running and fading into the toilet. He was so tall, his head was almost as high as the ceiling. It could not have been a dream because I ran after him into the toilet. When I pulled the shower curtain aside, nobody was there. I trembled in fear. I turned everything off and cowered out of that room. I never went inside that room again until the priest came back from the United States. At that time, my dream of flying was as constant as the sunrise or sunsets. I would experience the same dream of flying on a daily basis. Eugenetics, this will be the end of today's stories. Next story, next Wednesday, we'll have another story about something that is not normal, paranormal. So, thank you for your time, Eugenetics. There are 6 typhoons coming up in 6 days consecutively, so let us all take precautions. Be careful always. I love you, Eugenetics. Thank you.